He keeps breaking his promises. Inshallah, I'm going to just give you 1 minute to look at this. To look at this diagram so you can just try to remember. That's actually the summary of everything that we spoke about last time. I'm giving you 1 minute to summarize everything. To see where the arrows are going, the types. Ready for the questions? Wait. MashaAllah. You attend every night. You have to, at least, I'm proud to attend this. It's good. Better than Ijab. Way better than Ijab. As they say, like a little bit of something and it's consistent. Better than just if you do something like really huge just for one time and then you stop. Just coming by itself, it's a good achievement, So you can just get to know the names, the wudu, the definitions. Inshallah, with your intention, you get the ajr, inshallah. So we spoke last time about al-wudud. Al-wudud. Khalid, can you define the word al-wudud? Do not look at the board and tell me what al-wudud are. Like, what is it, like, linguistically, al-wudud?
It's a plural of mud. It's a stretching of word, a stretching of the word with the sound of 3 letters of alif, ya, and ba.
That's 70% correct.
Plus al-lin.
That's 80% correct. Stretching the sound of the word? The sound of the word? Right. Listen to المقصد هذا. I'm going to give you another, Yusuf, a hard question inshallah for you. Let's give this question to مقصد.
Yeah, alif with alif maftuh.
Oh no. Maftuh means has fatha.
Yeah.
No,
but
listen.
alif should be sukun, and the letter before should be maftuh.
That's good. That's right.
And
Alif sakin and the letter before it has fatha. That's alif al-mad. That's one of the letters of the mad. So you cannot stretch any alif in the Quran unless it has this condition. Sakin and the letter before it is maftuh. If it doesn't have these 2 conditions, you can't stretch them. If you stretch them more than like 2 harakat or like 1 harakat and a half, you're wrong. That means like you're not reciting properly. That's the first one. The second letter of mad.
Ya, sukun ya with Maksur.
With سكون, be like specific. What do you mean with maksur?
The letter before should be maksur.
Maksur.
Yeah.
Maksur has kasra.
Kasra.
Right? Ya sakin, and the letter before it has kasra. So that's the second letter of huruf al-mad, the letters of mad. The third letter, huh?
Wow.
Wow.
Sukun wow.
Wow sakin.
Yeah, and the letter before should be madmum.
You see that? So these three letters, if I tell you حروف المد في القرآن in Arabic language, al-mad means like these are the only letters that you can stretch. But with these two conditions, so if I tell you the letters of mad are waw, ya, alif, is that right? You tell me no, that's not right. Because the 29 letters of the alphabets, they're not حروف mad, including the ya, alif, waw. حروف al-mad, they're like separate. Alif waw ya, but with some conditions. So they're not the same alif waw ya. Different letters. We consider them like different letters because they have to come with, waw has to come with the sukoon on top of it, and the letter before it has dhamma. That structure, the whole structure, that's called waw al-mad. But if you bring me just like the waw, you take the waw and you have the sukoon, waw, and the letter before it has dhamma. And you take the waw, you tell me waw is a letter of mad. No, that's not right. The whole thing, that structure is harf al-mad, waw al-mad. Okay? So, al-mad, the definition of al-mad, anybody can, Sister Asma, or let me ask, because that's an easy question. Muhammad, the definition of al-mad.
Al-mad is stretching.
Stretching, linguistically stretching, that's right.
elongation.
But اصطلاحا in Tajweed,
it's stretching the letter more than 2 moves.
the letter. You see that? We just explained. You said stretching the letter more than 2 moves. The letter does apply to any letter in the alphabet.
No. The wow
حروف المد. To the letters of mad.
Yeah.
And
that the huruf al-mad when they
حروف المد, yes, and we stretch 2 types in Arabic language. حروف المد and also حروف the letters of lean. So the definition of al-mad, try to remember that, just like, try to visualize that, do not memorize. Al-mad, just like stretching the letters of the mad, those 3 letters, and the letters of lean. What are the letters of lean? Listen to Brother Qarni, if he still remembers.
Yeah, waw and ya.
That's wrong. You just tell me waw and ya as if you are saying waw and ya and alif are huruf al-mad.
Waw and ya with sukun and the letter before that kasra.
Oh no, you destroyed everything at the end. The letter before them has
Fatha.
fatha, not kasra.
Oh yeah.
Kasra, fix that. Inshallah. So the letters of lean, ya, and waw, sakina, they're both sakinin. Both of them have sukoon, and the letter before them has fatha. Those are the huruf al-lean. Khayr. The word khayr. Khayr. Ya sakin and the kha is maftuh. How can you stretch the ya? That's a tricky question. I'm going to put this in here. Can you stretch that there?
Yes.
It's a very tricky question. Trust
If
me.
you stop at raw, then you can stretch. If you don't stop, then you can't.
Anybody else? Anyone? Anyone?
It's a farig. It's flexible, a lean, so it is stretchable.
It is a lean.
Yeah.
Yeah, second, and the letter before it, it's fa maftuh. Do not be hesitant. That's the definition of al-lin. Al-mad, that's the definition of al-mad. Al-mad, yeah, you stretch. Al-mad, that's good. And you're right, Maqsad. You see, the trick is when we come to al-lin, inshallah, where is it? Where did I put the lin? In here. So, if you continue, you stretch it just like two harakat. خير والله. It's gonna be mad asli. Asli, like original. The normal one. Asli means like natural. Any person with no problems in his mouth or like any problem with his like speech or anything or talking. The normal person, he stretches these mudud correctly, natural. If you don't do any one of them correctly, that means your tongue is not normal. That's why they called it tabi'i, natural. If you don't say it natural, if you don't apply this mudud naturally, then your tongue is not tabi'i. So it's lean, ya sakin, and the letter before it has fathah, lean. If you continue, two harakat. If you stop, as Maqsad said, right here, al-lean. You stretch it like at least 6 harakat, between 5 and 6. Khair. You see, it's easy. It makes sense if you stretch it. ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ. You can't let it's hard to say ذَلِكَ خَيْرٌ. It's okay, but if you stretch it, you are actually applying the mudud. You are reading it the way that Rasulullah read it before. So, I want you to look at the ra. What does it have?
Tanween.
You attended Luhay with us the ra, right? The skinny ra and the mufakham, muraqqaq. Ra has dhamma. Is it muraqqaq or mufakham? I'm gonna give you all just like 10 seconds to think about it. And when you answer, you give me like a specific, precise answer. Huh. Anybody's ready to give me a very good answer? MashaAllah, Yusuf is always ready. She's good, huh? Any other person? She's gonna beat you. Do you know this answer or not?
Yeah, I know the answer.
So both of you, mashallah, you're competing. Let me see, Yusuf, do you know the answer?
Yeah.
MashaAllah, the whole family. Allah, mashallah. Umar, do you know that? I don't want to go to the last table because mashallah, they know, they're ready for any question.
That can't be like fact or
I need like a complete answer. Lu'ay, do you know?
I think so.
Yeah, go ahead.
You continue.
Khalas, that's it. Muhammad, do you know the answer?
I think.
Go ahead.
If you continue,
That's good. That's enough. Do you know the answer, Ismail?
I do not know.
Sarah?
That is
Mufakhama means like huge, right?
Yeah, because the ra is
The ra has dhamma, it's huge ra.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's it?
What else?
Listen to Yusuf.
And it's ra with dhamma, and also the letter before, before is from Mustalia, Mustalia.
Musta'lin kha.
With a fatha, so it's
مفخم. That's good. So you said the ra has dhamma.
And the letter before is sakin, and the letter before has.
What do you look
fatha.
at the letter right here? Just ra by itself مفخم. Dhamma is مفخمة.
Yeah.
Let me hear, like that's not the 100% answer. Let me hear. Luay, Luay. Let's go back to you. Go ahead.
I thought
We
she
tricked
gave a
you.
good answer.
So that wasn't 100% correct. Anybody right now? Anybody can answer. Yalla. Sister Rahat. Umar.
Hard try.
Huh?
If you continue reading it,
Uh-huh.
it's going to be mufakham, but if you stop at it,
Mhm.
it can be khair or
You don't know. Okay.
I have 3 weeks time to stop.
Anybody? None of you remember, like, you know,
If you
the ra?
It is muraqaqa.
It's,
Muraqaqa?
If it is
if you
if
stop,
you stop, it's like, it can be read like khair.
It's
Do you have your notes? Open your notes for the ra.
It's always
The lean. If you continue, it is مفخمة. خير. خير والله. If you stop, I want you to find out if you stop. How are you gonna say it if you stop? And I put that word as an example.
It says to stop on ra and the letter before that is sakin and the before that is fatha. Right.
Read it just like, you know, I'm gonna give you like 1 minute to review that. Did you find it in your notes? You found it? You have your notes there? Did I give you one of these? You keep this with you, okay? That's for the camera. You found it? Did I give you one of these? You can read it there. And also, you can ask me. Because we explained it in English. But you came late. You got one too? Ismail, you got one?
I'm not sure which one is
For the law.
right.
The side of the law. قبل الضرر. So what is it? What is this, Brother Qarni? Or like, Dr. Idris, what do you think?
I don't know.
If you stop here, like imagine like you know you're reciting and you stop. Stop on the word khayr. Khayr. Let me see the natural. يعني what do you call it? الفطرة. The natural pronunciation of yours. If you stop, how do you say it? Stop on that word, the first word. First of all, remember we have to stretch the ad.
yeah.
Stretch the ad, then stop. Ahmed.
Khair.
خير. What's خير or خير? A or B? One or two? One is خير. The second one is خير.
The first one, because I'm stopping at it, and it becomes murakkaba, because it's the letter of leen, yeah. If I stop at it, and the letter before is maftuh, it becomes murakkaba. Because of harful
Okay.
leen, yeah, it's harful leen.
Okay, that's good. So it is muraqqaqa because it is muraqqaqa because of the lean. I told you the lean whenever ya and waw sakin and the letter before it is maftuh and you stop, the ra should be muraqqaq. Should be muraqqaq. You will, and we discussed that, and you say, we stopped. When we stop, remember, like when we stop, this dhamma will turn to what? Sukoon. And sakin and maftuh, it should be mufakhama. Khayro. It should be mufakhama when we stop. But that was one of the twists there. Because of the ya is lean, and that's one of the exceptions. Usually when you stop on the ra and you make it sakin, you go back sakin and then you go back, it's maftuh or madmoom, dhamma or fatha, it should be mufakhama. Right? But this one, the ya is, it's called ya'ul lean. The lean. Lean like lenient. Like the lean. It's all same thing like in Arabic. Lean, lenient. And lean in Arabic, lenient. Soft. It has to come just like so easy. You don't put so much effort for the ya to come. Just khair. You don't even try it. So it should be originally, it should be what? Mufakhama. But because the ya and lean, ya here, ya is sakina, and the letter before it is maftuh. So this condition is called the quality of lean. We studied that in the qualities. So in this case, it should be, the ra should be maksur. Anyways, muraqqaq should be muraqqaq, skinny ra. That's good, mashallah. So we spoke last time about how many types of mudud? Two of them. Asli, primary. And why do we call it asli? Because it's natural. Al-ulama, the scholars, they said, then the good person, like, you know, any person, normal person, natural person will have to say this like perfectly fine, with no effort, with no mistakes. And it's called tabi'i because it doesn't have a reason. It doesn't have a reason. Something did not cause it to happen. So just like it happens naturally. And al-mudud, the types of the original mad, three of them. Al-badal, replacement or substitution. Al-iwad, compensation. As-salat al-sughra, minor connection. Because we have a major one here, it's in the far'i. So when you have like asli and then like original or like primary and secondary. This one is the secondary one. Why do we call it secondary? Because something caused it. Usually everything is natural in this world. Unless something happens, then something has to change, right? So the primary one and then far'i, you stretch it more than 2 harakat. And then it's called far'i secondary because something has caused it. And then it divides into two groups. The first one, the two causes, the first reason is al-hamza. The hamza could be one of those troublemakers. And also a sukoon. Sukoon and hamza. These are the only two reasons for the secondary mad. How many mudud, how many mad we have because of the hamza? We have three. Muttasil connected mad, disconnected mad, and major connection. These three, they happen because of the hams. So if I ask you next class, inshallah, if I tell you how many, like what are the mudud that are caused because of the hamza, you tell me the connected mad, disconnected, and major connection. And connection, like almost, all of them, they have connect, so connected, disconnected, major connection. The three of them are caused by the hamza. The second type of the reasons, the sukoon. The sukoon, we have three mudud happen because of the sukoon. The lazim, must or mandatory med, you have to do it. You don't have any option. Arid al-sukoon means like when you stop, it's just like kind of the stoppage. Like you stop and you put like sukoon on the letter, that's called arid al-sukoon. Arid, like, you know, I'm just like walking normally, all of a sudden you stop me. Huh? Because you put sukoon on top of me, then, okay, I became like med arid al-sukoon. Med because of the sukoon. I didn't have med because I stopped. And then a lean. You see that? A lean? The flexible, lenient. That's a lean when you stop right there. Because of the sukoon. خير. ذلك خير. You cannot say ذلك خير. That's not right. So right now, what we are going to start with, we are going to start with the badal, inshallah. You see, we are going to just break them down in order. So right now, asli, far'i, and asli has 3. We will start with the badal. We finish the badal. Badal is very easy and simple, inshallah. Before inshallah we do anything, I want every one of you inshallah, can you write the word Ameen for me, like in a small, on the top of the paper, the word Ameen. Can you write like the word Ameen? You know when the Imam says, وَلَضَّالِّينَ, it's just like, this question is in my mind for a long time and I need to see who's gonna write the word Ameen correctly. And I can help you. Do you want me to help you? I can help you. But if you don't like my Ameens, it's up to you. You can write it down and show me. And do not look it up. Look at the light. Do not look anywhere. Just like try to write it down from your mind. If anybody knows, do not tell nobody. And I want you, if you have another opinion, you can write your own Ameen and show me. I'm gonna pass through and I'm gonna see who got it right. Which one? Number 3, okay. Almost right, you got it? Which one? Do you agree with any one of them, or you have your own? Which one is correct? Show me.
I don't know, maybe this one.
Okay.
Number 3.
I know.
3.
Okay.
Maybe 6.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. I'm gonna exclude those people who attend my class on Saturday. I have some people, they come to the practical recitation on Saturday morning. So let's not count them. So inshallah, all of you are wrong. All of you. Subhanallah.
Number 2.
So none of these is correct. None of these are correct. MashaAllah, because the majority of you, they wrote down this. Ismail, Tala, Maqsad, everybody, like, they got this one. And that's not right. Let's see. He came on
Let's
time.
check him. Let's check him.
He came on time.
If he's real Arab.
He was waiting to ask you.
You came on time. We have, you know, the word Ameen. Basically, we haven't started anything yet. Yeah, and we were just like reviewing, and then this question came up to my mind because we always say Waladdaleen, Ameen, and here are like some options. You choose which one is correct, or if you don't agree with any one of them, you tell me which one is. Well, if you can write your own Ameen.
There's 6 of them, mashallah.
6 of them. Which one?
So many options.
Or you can write your own Ameen.
I'm not gonna have to what Ameen means.
No, I want you to do with Tajweed. Ameen means like that's another lesson. What it means first? Tell us what does it mean when the Imam says Ameen and Waladdaleen and you say Ameen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Allahumma stajib.
Translate that.
Allah responds.
And which one of them is correct? I want you. It's a
Missing,
challenge.
there's harakat missing.
Oh, the harakat, it doesn't matter. The harakat, it doesn't matter. All of them, they have fatahat, basically.
I go with 3.
You see, we're not wrong.
You see that? SubhanAllah. That was, he got it right. He got 3 right, but it's wrong. Yeah. So, are you sure? Like, I'm not sure if it's right or wrong, but are you sure? Because 3 isn't 3. Khalas, final
Yeah,
answer.
that's how you write it, but that's how it's supposed to be. Yeah, that's how.
Okay, so this is how you write it down. SubhanAllah. You see that challenge I told you? SubhanAllah. So that's not correct. None of them is correct.
Yeah, because it's missing. That's how. That's the closest to it. It's
How do you write it down? Because none of the three is not
The
correct.
Hamza is the first before the alif. You don't have it.
Can you write it down for me here?
You don't have Hamza, the number
Write
3.
it for me like with harakat. You see? Put the harakat on. So, okay. Dr. Salah, you put Ameen this way. I'm gonna just put down whatever he wrote down here. Who agrees with him? Can you read it for me? Abu Ali? Read it. Try to read it. Can you read it, Abu Adam?
Yeah, because it's sounded.
Read it, read it. Hello, read this word. You know what calamity and problem you created there. Catastrophe or something. Huh? This shadda in Arabic language doesn't at all come with mad. Never comes with mad
Well, it's
at
not
all.
as if they have the Hamza, but they don't like Hamza before, so that's why you put
They don't like. I told you to write it down the way you think it is.
No, but they didn't write it down in Arabic.
Okay.
They don't put it in the.
Where do you put it?
Good thing about this.
Hamza Masura. Okay. Where's the? Okay. All of these are wrong. Okay, inshallah. And Abu Adam said the Hamza is Mastura. We don't have Hamza Mastura in Arabic. Just read about it, inshallah, and I'm gonna explain this. The sukoon with fatha. I mean shadda with fatha. It means like we have two alifs. One of them, the first one is sakin, the second one is mutaharrik fatha. Where do I put the mad? That's why the mad does not come with the shadda at all. Because if you want me to read it here, you have to stop. And you cannot stretch. The shadda in Quran means you have to stop in one of them. Remember when I tell you stop at the first one? Al-hajj, you stop. So if you read this, so it doesn't work. So, and I spoke about this. This is one of the common mistakes that people do when they text or speak, or like because of they get used to the mistake and they transmit the mistake to their kids, and khalas, when they write down, you make dua for them, they say Ameen. They put Ameen this way. Ameen. And this is completely wrong. Ameen, this is like an introduction for the mad al-badal. Ameen is written down this way. Without mad. Without mad, huh? You see this?
I told you it comes up first, but they don't put it on.
He said it.
I still have his. You erased it.
No, I didn't erase it right there.
Where is it?
Hamza first thing.
If Dr. Salah agrees it's Hamza, I'm gonna.
That's
Is
a
that
doctor
Hamza?
handwriting.
Is it the Hamza?
With the Hamza.
It's not Hamza. So
I said put Hamza in the beginning. It should-
Yeah.
even if خلاص
Well, that's okay. I don't know. It's
Allah.
for teaching.
MashaAllah. If you put it this way, as Dr. Salah said, the Hamza, that's not correct. The right way is right there. So, and this is the introduction for the Maddul Badal, inshallah. Maddul Badal. Maddul Badal, it's a mad of the original primary mad. And how many harakat do we stretch the mad al-tabi'i, al-badal? How many? Harakatayn, two of them. And what's the issue? Why do people say Ameen? Why? Is it correct or wrong when you say Ameen? Let me ask one by one. Abu Adam. Correct or wrong? And give me the reason. And stick to your opinion. Do not change your opinion.
So hard. It's just so hard.
So, when people say Ameen, wrong or right?
No, but it's like the non-mean with the others. There's three customers. The met is the two met there. So
Where's the
our-
two meds?
the mean is like
The meme is maksura. Ameen.
it's just too hard. People do it too long because they
So the people are wrong.
too hard.
90% of the Muslims around the world are wrong. Let's see, I'm just asking questions. Tala, is it correct or wrong? How do you say Ameen? Ameen or Ameen? The first one. Anybody agrees with the first one? Ameen. Huh? Oh, I think your husband cheated you already. He told you. Did you tell her? MashaAllah, you are a good messenger.
But she knows Madhi Badli.
MashaAllah. How do you say this word? How do you say after when the Imam says wala dhalin, how do you say it?
So I have only two options. The first one should be balanced. If the first like alif is 2, then ya should be 2. If it's 4, it should be 4.
Okay, so the right answer is that almost 99% of people, they say it wrong. They say Ameen. That's completely wrong. The right answer is Maddul Badal, as Abu Adam said, 2 harakat. And then the mad, you know where the mad comes? At the ya, because you stop. Adla sukoon. Ameen. That's the right way. But people, they break the rules because they don't know the rules. And to the point, when when somebody texts me and I mentioned that to some people, they text me and they mention dua and I say Ameen, I write it correctly. That's one of my specialties, like Arabic writing. And they think you are very bad at writing or dictation. They don't know that. And they say, why do you, this person, he's the Imam and he scored 99% in Arabic and why his handwriting is horrible, like that writing. And I'm writing with the grammars, but they don't know the grammars. They get used to the wrong stuff, and khalas, it became like a common thing in the Muslim community. So many things, so many examples. And the problem is like, they don't know that, they don't know, as Sheikh Surah said, and I add to that they don't know that also. Subhanallah. So this is the right way. And the med comes the ya. Ya sakin ma qablaha maksur. Ya sakin ma qablaha maksur. That's what? Harful med. Harful med. Ameen. That's how Rasulullah taught Ubay ibn Ka'b, Abdullah ibn Abbas, Hafs. It came through Hafs. When Hafs and Asim. Warsh. Another qira'ah. You see, when we recite in Hafs, you have to follow Hafs. You have to say, Ameen. Warsh, they stretch the mad al-badal 6 harakat, between 4 and 6. They say, إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات آمنوا. But that's warsh. If you are going to recite with warsh, you say Ameen with warsh. But usually even warsh, when you start with the hamza, you stretch it only 2 harakat, because it's badal. But if you connect it, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, that's when warsh, he stretches mad al-badal more than 4 harakat. But if you start with it, it's just 2. So the common mistake in the Muslim community, they say Ameen wrong. And this is how you write Ameen. This is the right way.
You want the flat option?
We don't want that. Somebody maybe was hot. Maddul badal. Write down this. Maddul badal in Arabic هو كل همز ممدود. It is every hamza with mad. And it is a special case of the primary mad. examples here. I'm going to put some examples here and then I will ask you about them. Maybe some of them, they apply to the badal and some of them I'm just trying to trick you. So write down everything and we will talk about them inshallah. Some I just put them there to trick you. And I will ask you which one is correct and which one is not. Try to write them all, inshallah. Write them all. Also, one of the huge mistakes that people write the name of like subhanallah. These are common mistakes nowadays. Before I told Abu Adam, if I told him before tonight, write down your son's name, he's gonna write down Adam like that. Right?
I don't put Met here.
So he doesn't put the Met. That's Adam. And that's completely wrong. You see, just because
I want this in Arabic anyway, but
we cannot catch anything on him. So people, they put Adam this way. Or some of them, they put Adam with the Med. And that's not right. Adam, it is Med Badal. Med Badal. Yes, there's Hamza here. When I say mad badal, you know, that's it. And mad badal, I put some examples there. You will notice that not every one of them like has hamza, like on before. Look, there's no hamza here. There is no hamza here. There is no like the hamza before alif. No, and here there's hamza. There's hamza. Just two examples they have hamza, and that's the trick. That's why some of the teachers they link mad al badal. They link this mad just to the hamza. They give you this example, and if you see that anything that's similar to this in the Quran, that's mad al badal only. That's not right. We will explain it right now, inshallah. You're done, inshallah? You are done writing those examples? So, which one of them is mad al badal? The first one, or second one, or third, or fourth? We have 6 words here. Which one of them is mad al badal? We have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I just answered it. Subhanallah. I told you some of them they link it to the hamza, but it's not. So all of these are mad al badal. And you ask me, how come? And that's where the subhanallah, those tricks come on this part. Let's see the origin of mad al badal. How did it come? Why do we call it mad al badal? Anybody knows why do we call it mad al badal?
Replacement?
Yeah, why do we call it replacement?
It kind of replaces the letter after it.
Can you
After
apply
or
what you
before
said
it?
to one of the words here?
For example, amanu, like hamza is maftuh, and then after that it comes alif.
Okay, so hamza maftuha and then alif.
Yeah. All,
Why do we call it mad al badal?
Because it replicates. Same.
Which
same
one is
letter.
replicating?
The hamza.
Where does it replicate? We have only one hamza.
Yeah, what I'm saying is hamza is maftuh, right? Maftuh is like alif. It's kind of like the same.
It's not like alif. What's the difference between fatha and alif? Listen, Yusuf, he's gonna tell you. What's the difference between hamza, fatha and alif?
The fatha and alif. With the hamza with the fatha.
No, just the fatha with alif. What's the difference between fatha and alif?
The alif, like, it doesn't really have like a sound of its own.
It has a sound, but like I explained
It's
that.
like-
Remember, like the main difference between fatha and alif. Your dad knows, or your mom.
Fatha is harakat and
I know, fatha is haraka and alif is a letter. But what's the difference? I explained that. Did you
In
forget?
sound? In sound or?
Listen to Abu
No,
Adam.
I'm just saying it's between Hamza and Alif, not.
No, fatha and alif. Fatha and alif.
Oh, Fatha and Alif. You said Hamza and Alif.
No. What's the difference between fatha and alif? But hamza and alif, they're both letters. Khalid, you remember?
Alif is have 2 harakat. Hamza, Fatha 1 harakat.
You got it. Fatha only 1 harakat. Alif has 2 harakat. That's the only difference. If you stretch just like if you stretch the fatha 1 more harakat, it turns to alif.
Okay.
You see that? You have to keep that in mind. Oh, how come you forgot that? We explained that in Fajr. You were sleeping. Look. Remember like lakin, the word lakin. Lakin, do you write it this way? Do you write it this way or not?
في القرآن تجمع نسبة
Lam.
You made the lam, you made the fatha.
The Arab agreed that lakin al-istidrakiyah, like lakin, I like you, but that's called tastadrik. They agreed completely, they have to write it this way. But you pronounce it this way. Why do they put it this way? Because they said when we write it down this way, it means لا كن. Nafi, negative, no, and then do. No, do. So it's like, it's kind of positive and negative and positive. جميل سيء. لا كن. So they agreed to write it this way. So here, لا. لا. If you stretch it just like a little, one more حركة, the فتحة. If you stretch it one more حركة, it will become لكن. 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 That's completely like wrong. So, give me another word starting with لام. لام الفاعل. أني لام. Not لكم. It's not لام الفاعل.
With which one?
Any word like was starting with لنسقينهم. لنضلنهم. لنضلنهم. لنضل. It's one حركة. Give me another word with the same ميزان, the same measurement.
لنذيقنهم.
لترون. لترون. You all know this surah. لترون الجحيم. ثم لترونها عين اليقين. لترون. لترون means look how beautiful it is. يعني سبحان الله. لترون. Means you will see it. Indeed, you will see it. It's basically like confirming. Imagine if you just like, some of them they recite and they stretch the fatha a little bit over. They do it. لا ترون الجحيم. It means
You
won't see it. Completely changing the meaning. You see just one harakah, subhanAllah, in the Quran. You see that's why علم التجويد, this knowledge, inshallah, maybe Sheikh Suraq is going to speak about it. It's fard ayn. Why? Because you need to know how to recite this. Because if you just like add one harakah, you change the meaning. And that's not the Quran. It's fard ayn. Mandatory knowledge you have to seek. لَتَرَوُنَّ الْجَحِيمِ. It's not لا ترون. Some of them they come and they try to beautify their voices and they damage everything. So, subhanallah. So keep that in mind, the difference between alif and fatha, just like one haraka, one thing. And the difference between dhamma and waw, one haraka. The difference between ya and kasra, one haraka. If there's like a kasra, just keep it as a kasra. If you add one haraka to the kasra, it turns to ya. And then you change the meaning. You broke down the ayah. Completely like khalas, it's a different ayah. It's not ayah anymore. And the waw as well, like sometimes al-waw and the dhamma. Let's see. It's not the topic tonight, but let's try to give the example with the dhamma. No, dhamma. Any word, any fi'l, any verb with dhamma at the end. For one person. Okay, here, I found it here. إذا جاء نصر. You all know this. إذا جاء نصر الله. Who or Allah? Nasrullahi. You see, the dhamma is here. إذا جاء نصر. And it's very snappy. Nasrullahi. Rullahi. Just dhamma. Imagine if you just add harakah to the dhamma. Dhamma has only one harakah. Fatha one harakah. Kasra one harakah. Add one more harakah of dhamma. Nasrullah. You know what does it mean? It turns to another verb, like a ruler of people like Jama'ah, they gave victory to Allah. it changes the meaning completely. Like nasar, it will turn to, if you add the more harakat to the dhamma, it turns to nasar. That's a huge mistake. You see, this is like the critical issue of ilm al-tajweed, the knowledge of tajweed. That's why it's a must ilm to see. So right now, going back to the same question, why do we quote Maddul Badal and Aba Adam?
Replacing Hamza with Mad.
Huh?
Replacing Hamza with Mad.
Replacing Hamza with Mad. Why do we replace Hamza with Mad?
Easier to say.
Okay, mashallah. You tried your best, mashallah. That's naturally good because Mad al-Badal, it's a natural mad. But I'm going to give you the right reason, inshallah, for why is it Mad al-Badal. Here you go. This is very critical here. This is very important. Write down that, inshallah. It's not Aba Adam just to make it easy, like you put the Hamza on top, in front. I'm going to give you the right reason, inshallah, right now. اجتماع همزتين. Okay. اجتماع همزتين ثانيهما ساكنة. Connecting two hamza, you have two hamzat, and the second one is sakina, which means the first one is mutaharrika, right? I'm going to explain that, inshallah. That's just like the title. The reason for Madd al-Badal, because if two hamazat, they come together right next to each other, and the second one is sakina, means the first one is mutaharrika. Okay, inshallah? If I tell you, you have two letters, the first one is sakin, what does that mean? The second one is mutaharrik. I don't have to tell you that. It's just like automatically. Yeah?
In Arabic, you can have two letters, continuous letters with seconds.
In Arabic, you cannot combine two letters that are sakinin. But also, I'm gonna give you something new, even for something new.
Why do you keep asking questions about Arabic?
So in Arab, you can put that down. In Arabic language, you cannot combine between two letters sakinin. And also, you can write this down. This is so beautiful. Also, one of the grammars of Arabic language, Al-Arab do not combine or connect between two hamazat. The second one is sakina. Basically, as we know that the first grammar that you said, Arab do not actually combine two letters ساكنين. So one of them should be what? متحرك. Except the Hamza. But the Hamza, except the Hamza. Hamza, the second one is ساكن. Still, Al-Arab do not, the Hamza, they apply to the rule. Actually, they comply to the rule. The first one is متحركة, the second one is ساكنة. So we should actually combine. They're not both ساكنين. No, but also, there's like an exception. Al-Arab, Arabic people, they do not combine between ساكنين. And there's one exception. Al-Hamza. In Arabic language, Arabs do not combine between two hamazat, the second one is sakin. But imagine two different letters, the second one is sakin, you can combine them, it's okay. That was the idgham. Remember the idgham mutamathilin mutaqaribain. The first one is mutaharrik, the second one is sakin. And remember those idghamat. But that doesn't apply to the hamazat. You got that? فإن وجد ذلك في كلام يبدأ الهمزة الثانية ساكنة. So they used to have those words. Some of the words in Arabic, they have two hamzah. The second one is sakina. And that's actually normal with any other letters. But with the hamzah, no, it's not normal. So what do? They say, when they face this situation, they replace the second hamzah, the sakina. You write that down. And when you come to this situation, they replace the second hamzah, the sakina, with a letter of mad. And when they face this kind of situation, two hamazat, the second one sakina, they replace the second one, the hamza, the sakina, with harf mad مجانس لحركة الهمزة, like similar to the haraka of the hamza. They replace the second hamza. Do you write that down, Maqsad?
No.
I'm going to try to write that down here. Do you want me to write that down here? They replace the second hamza with harf mad similar to the haraka of the hamza. Like, if the haraka of the hamza fatha, what's the similar letter to the fatha? Alif. We replace the second hamza with the alif. If the haraka on the hamza is waw, what do we replace the second hamza? With dhamma, I mean, waw. If the haraka of the hamza maksur, what do we replace the second hamza with?
Yeah.
With ya. Okay, I'm gonna put that here, and you, inshallah. Wasn't too far?
The definition wasn't too far.
To make it easy, you mean, huh? Yeah, you're right. That's why I told you, you're kind of right, to make it easy. But why? I didn't ask you about the hikmah.
It'll be like, عربي وعجمي.
So right now, I'm going to give you the original words. This is how you see them in the Quran, but right now you know the reason why. But how did they look like? Al-Arab. How did they used to write these words outside of the Quran? Outside of the Quran. That's how you write the name Adam perfectly in Arabic. This is the right way to write the word Adam. And then, applying that rule, we will replace the second one, the second hamza, with the haraka, right? The similar letter of the haraka. What's the similar letter to the fatha? Alif. So we bring the hamza in here, leave a space. We erase everything. We erase that. And we put here like alif, just alif by itself. Then that's 1, 2. You see this one, this word? Let's apply it. Let's take it. It's basically Everybody's finished? Okay. So if you look right now, this is the original word in Arabic. This is how you write the word Adam, or u'tu. Iman. Iman in Arabic, the word Iman. We have Iman, right? Huh? Iman. This is how you're supposed to write it in Arabic. That's how originally, like in the Arabic language, this is how they write it down. But in the Quran, Hamza and Hamza. And since the second Hamza is Sakina, and as we said in Arabic, people of the language of Arabiya, they don't combine with two sakinain. Also, they don't combine with Hamza and mutaharrika and Hamza sakina. So what we're gonna do, we take this Hamza, the sakina, and we look at the haraka of the first Hamza. The haraka of the first Hamza is kasra, and then so we replace the whole thing here. We erase that. What's the similar to the kasra? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we say Iman. That's why Warsh, some of his students, some of the Qur'an, they still say Iman. They don't say Iman. They don't say Iman, they say Iman. And also, Al-Mu'minun, they say it Al-Mu'minun. They have it like in the opposite way of Hafs. And they're like still sticking to the original Arabic, Iman. So, but this is basically because the majority of Muslims, 90% of the Muslims, they recite with Hafs and Asim, and that's the grammar. And right now, Adam, it's basically Adam. And the second Hamza, it's Sakina. We erase everything. Oh, it's Fatha. We just put like a normal Alif. Alif. Sakin. What does that mean, Alif Sakin? It has sukoon. And it has to comply to the definition of al-mad. Alif Sakin ma qablahu, and what's before it is maftuh. And here look, u'tu. We erase the whole thing here, and then the haraka on the first Hamza is dhamma. Then we put waw, sakin. Sakin, ma qablahu, the one before it is madmum. So that's harf, waw mad. That's why you can right now stretch it. Inna alladhina wa utu warsh wa utul kitab. Hafs, how many harakat he stretches al-badal? 2. Utu. Amanu imana. Warsh, he's still actually applying the old grammar. Amanu imana. And same thing. So this is basically, right now, this is the introduction to the badal. Not the introduction, I'm not going to scare you. This is, okay, so basically right now you know 90% of the badal. Open a new page, and we are going to finish with this page. How many types of hamza we have in Arabic? 3? What are they? I didn't say harakat.
No,
I said hamazat. But it's still hamza. It's not a different type. Not handwriting. How many types of hamazat? You all know this. مش منفصلة اسمها همزة الوصل. الوصل. He knows it. همزة القطع and همزة الوصل. Put that down. We have 2 types of hamazat. I know maybe you heard about this terminology, but what I'm going to tell you, you never heard about what I'm going to tell you at all. ها؟
القطع والوصل.
أي همزة القطع والوصل. Say, put the types of hams in Arabic. I'm actually trying to cover the mad al-badal completely, like 100%. Anybody ask you any question? I promise you and I guarantee, if you understand what I'm saying right now, wallah, you will be better than maybe 90% of the huffaz. 90% of the huffaz, they don't know this. They study al-badal with the hamza, that's what they say, that's good. But they don't know the details. And I'm gonna tell you something even trickier, something tricky, inshallah. Nobody knows, even those who are. Huh. Ready, inshallah? How many types of hams? Two. Do you want me to erase this or write on the back so you can take pictures of that? Do you want me to erase or flip it? So you can finish writing at the end. What's the definition? أبا حافظ. The definition of همزة القطع. The disconnecting hams.
This is the first time I heard.
أبا آدم. Define همزة القطع.
لا تتصل مع ما بعدها. Does not connect to what's behind.
وهمزة الوصل. And همزة الوصل.
Connect to it.
What do you mean by connecting? You see, if you're trying to trick me, what do you mean by connecting? because we connect both of them.
No, don't connect me.
You can in writing you cannot connect both of them. You can't connect both of them. They both do not connect to any letter in writing. Is that what you mean?
You finish with it. It's connected. Yeah. You can't connect it.
We cannot connect both of them قطعا وصل to any letter.
No.
So what's the difference?
Also, you can connect to something before it, but not after.
You mean connecting in writing or pronunciation? You see, I'm trying to make it easy for you. Huh?
No, the writing.
Writing, can you ever connect hamza to any letter?
Yeah. Hamza like,
That's a huge issue. But you cannot connect it. So let me give you the grammar in Arabic. Probably I thought you guys know this. But how many letters that we cannot connect in Arabic at all to any letter?
7.
At all, before or after? Nothing, before or after. How many letters?
Dal you can connect.
Focus on my question. Okay, okay. How many letters? How many letters? We shouldn't actually. We cannot connect them to anything before or after.
Alif.
Ra. Hold on. Let me. Okay. So, what about the dal? We can? Yeah, you see that? So, how many letters? Okay, I'm going to make it easy. How many letters we can connect? We cannot connect them to anything after them. How many letters we cannot connect them to anything that comes after them?
4.
Wow.
Wow.
That's good, right? Dal, Ra, Zai,
Wow.
Waw, and Hamza. You cannot connect the Hamza in writing because it's gonna turn to Ain. This is one of the rules in Arabic. Huh? But you cannot connect it to that. It's called the Sunnat al-Harf. You cannot connect it. I mean connecting, like physically connecting. So these letters, you cannot connect them to anything after them. Huh? And how many letters? You cannot connect them to anything before them. What is it? Hamza. And what's the letter that you cannot connect it to anything before or after in handwriting? Hamza. So in Hamza, you cannot connect the Hamza to anything before or anything after. Let me just give you an example. إيمانا.
البئر.
بئر. Is it connected? The Hamza connected to any the basic like the and foundation. It's not connected. You cannot connect it. You have to know these grammars.
This is like a what you can call like khilaf istilah.
So I'm gonna prove it to you. You cannot connect it in Hafs. Also, why? Because it's an optional Hamza here in Bi'r. Why? Because Al-Qira'at al-Hadrami and Warsh, they say Bir. We call it in Yemen, أنا رحت للبير. We don't say Bi'r. We say Bir. Because Al-Hamza is not original here. So you see that Hamza you cannot. ها؟ لا هذه قراءة النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. وبير مشيدة وقصر مشيد.
وقراءة ثانية.
أيوه. الأصل هي الهمزة ليست original. الهمزة من كلام الناس فسهلوها يقولوها قالوها بئر. أصحاب البصرة قالوها بئر. أصحاب اليمن وأفريقيا يقولوا لها بير. بير. والعرب الأصل في اليمن فأصلها بير وليست بئر. أصلها. لكن the original, I mean the point is Hamza cannot be connected to anything. It has to be just by itself. So these letters basically you cannot connect them to anything after them, and the Hamza you cannot connect it to anything before or after. So going back to Hamzatul Qat' and Wasl. What's the difference between Hamzatul Qat' and Wasl?
Now you do
I explained everything so I can make it easy for you.
So Hamzatul Qat' comes at the beginning.
So easy, subhanallah. Hamzatul Qat'. Hamzatul Qat'. You pronounce it and you write it down. Put that down. You pronounce it and you have to write it down. Al-Qat'. The disconnecting Hamza, it's the Hamza that you have to pronounce and you have to put it down. You have to write it down. And Hamzatul Wasl, It is the hamza that you pronounce it if you continue, if you stop. Hamzatul al-wasl, the connecting hamza, you pronounce it if you stop and you do not write it down in connecting or disconnecting. If you continue or stop, you do not write it. Hamzatul wasl. Hamzatul wasl, you stop or continue, you do not write it down. And when you stop, you pronounce it. If you continue, you don't pronounce it. Get that? Repeat that if you want. You get it?
No, repeat.
Hamzatul qat'. Hamzatul qat'. Let's make it easy. Hamzatul qat'. Qat' means like cut. Qat', cut. Even they said the word cut in English, originally Arabic. Cut, qat', qat', cut. Qat' means Hamzatul qat'. Hamzatul qat'. You pronounce it, either you stop or you continue. You write it down, either you stop or you continue. Okay? You write it and you pronounce it, even if you stop or if you continue. Hamzatul wasl, you only write it down. You never write it down, but you pronounce it once you stop. If you stop, you pronounce it. Hamzatul wasl. If you stop, you pronounce it. If you continue, you do not pronounce it. What about writing it down? You do not write it down, if you stop or even if you continue. You don't write it down. And the second difference, put the second difference. Hamzatul wasl. Hamzatul wasl, it comes at the beginning of the word. Hamzatul wasl, it comes at the beginning of the word and you pronounce it. When you start with the word. And if you connect the word to anything before it, you do not pronounce it. It's a little bit tricky, but it's okay. And if you, as I said, Hamzatul wasl, it comes at the beginning of the word and you pronounce it as a Hamza if you start with the word. But let's say you connect this word to something before it, you do not pronounce it. Since we said Hamzatul qat' you write it and Hamzatul wasl you don't write it, how do you know if there's like Hamzatul wasl connecting Hamza if you don't write it? How do you know if there's like a Hamza in there? It comes with the shape of alif. With the shape of alif, empty alif, Hamzatul wasl. It comes just like a normal alif or alif with little sad. In the Quran.
That's for disconnecting, right?
Yes.
Or connecting.
Connecting or stopping. Even if you stop, Hamzatul wasl, you don't write it as a Hamza. It has to be that way.
This is for wasl. That's south for wasl.
Yeah, this is wasl. For both of them are wasl. Either this one or that one.
Okay.
Al-qat'. Al-qat', it has to be qat'. Either this one, or this one, or this one. or this one. That's qat. A qat, you have to write down the hamza. Wasl, alif, just normal alif without anything. And remember, alif ha, alif sakin, right? Without anything. But remember, like, if the alif sakin before it fatha, that's gonna be mad. So it's not necessary to have something before it fatha. The alif, the hamzatul wasl, you write it down as alif sakin or alif with sad. And if you connect it, basically, let's say, I'm going to give you examples. The letter before the alif, it's not necessary to be maftuh. It could be maksur, madmum, because it's hamza. We're not talking about harf al-mad. We're not talking about alif of mad.
Also is a yeah.
Huh?
It's called yeah also.
Yes, that's how it's, yeah. So many shapes. That's an Arabic topic. Yani, that's another trick that I trick those highly educated people with. When they text, and I pick those mistakes and I teach them a lesson. And it's called wasl. It is called hamzat wasl because it connects between two words without stopping. You don't have to stop as a sukun. It's called wasl because it connects between two words. For example, qara'tu wastakhrajtu. For example, here, qara'tu basically, look. There you go. How do you say this? Qara, the sound of the hamza, remember? The sound of the hamza. Qara, tu, and then let's say, you see there's no hamza in here, but it's hamza. Stop there, start with here, start. You see the you pronounce the hamza. But why don't you put it? Because there's like grammars, because الفعل الخماسي السداسي الرباعي. So do not worry about that. So you see, you pronounce the hamza, but you don't try it. You see, once you started the word, when you start the word, you pronounce the hamza al-wasl. You pronounce it, but you don't try it. How do you know it's hamza al-wasl? With this alif. Alif, but you say istakhrajtu. And then right now connect. Qara'atu was. Read. Qara'atu was. Qara'atu was. As if you are not saying the alif. It's hamza al-wasl. If you continue, it connects between two words. You don't even read it. You see that? Pay attention to these things, because if you continue, you do not pronounce it. If you continue. Do not pronounce or even write it. If you continue. If you stop, let's say if you start with it. If you start. You pronounce it as a hamza. You read it as hamza, but you do not write it. Write it, but you write it as alif. You see why it's
لا بس فأعرض عنهم وانتظر.
فأعرض عنهم وانتظر.
فأعرض عنهم
وانتظر. It's beautiful, يعني سبحان الله يعني. Some people
انتظر.
انتظر, when you start with انتظر, انتظر وانتظر. And some of you, they think, how come we can start with that's one word and this is one word, واستخرجت. واستخرجت, I don't say it. واستخرجت. If I told you, you really should pronounce it when you start with the second word. Start with the second word. Did you pronounce it? No. But that's not the second word because this waw is not part of the second word. This waw, it's waw al-atf, and. So if you say what, it's basically a letter, it's a word by itself. وَاسْتَخْرَجْتُ. استخرج and waw. And these are two words. The waw, it's a word by itself. A letter. We said حروف العطف, حروف الجر. It's not like an alphabet. In the Quran, it's not an alphabet. It is an, ala, waw, al-kaf, al-ba. So, if I tell you start with the second word, you do not start with the waw. Waw is not the second word. Waw is just like harf al-atf. Like, it's waw, and. But when I tell you to start with the second word, you start with the second word. Istakharajtu. You see, I'm pronouncing the hamza. But if you start with the waw, you did not start with the second word. You started with the word before. وَاسْتَخْرَجْتُ. You did not pronounce the hamza. What time is it?
9:15.
Huh?
9:15.
Also, I think it's good for you. We are going to continue the hamza because we haven't finished al-badal, because some people they think al-badal is easy. We haven't finished al-badal. We still have when the hamza al-wasl and hamza al-qat' they meet. And when hamza al-qat' comes before al-wasl and al-wasl comes before, so it's beautiful. It's going to be very fun. We will finish it inshallah next time, and then we jump to al-awal, the next minute.